Body Shop Ramone was first released in 2013 as part of the Wheelwell Motel series, and he's notable for being the first ever Ramone diecast to include his paint gun. This is an accessory we've seen molded on to numerous Ramone diecasts over the years, and we're still getting new versions of him that include it to this day. We recently saw it on Glow Racer's Ramone just a couple months back, for example. But this is the Ramone where it all started. Not wanting to use the word gun in the name of the toy, they decided to call him Body Shop Ramone, and the Body Shop prefix has been used on a few other Ramones since to denote that they're versions of him that include the paint gun. For example, there's Union Jack Ramone, and then there's Body Shop Union Jack Ramone. That's the version of Union Jack Ramone that comes with the paint gun. Body Shop, I think, is a fine enough name to denote Ramones that include his paint gun. Although, funnily enough, Union Jack Ramone doesn't actually appear in the Body Shop. He appears in London using the paint gun as an actual weapon. But typically, Ramone's going to be using this in his Body Shop to paint over cars. I don't see why they couldn't have called it like Ramone with paint sprayer or something else. I understand them not wanting to use the word gun, but you could have done like Ramone with paint sprayer or Ramone with maybe painting tool. I don't know. Regardless, that's what they went with, so that's what we have. The other notable thing about this Ramone is that it actually came out a whole 3 years before the variant of it without the paint gun. Yeah, throughout 2013, 14, and 15, if you wanted a version of this Ramone, you were going to be stuck with the one that permanently had the paint gun on the side. It took until 2016 to get a variant that didn't include that, and that was named Artist Ramone. No matter what, this Ramone can never escape the fact that his name is tied in with the fact that he's a painter. Anyway, guys, welcome back to another review and to another Cars Diecast review. Why did I say that? That's all of my reviews. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Body Shop Ramone, released in 2013. This is an item that I got when I bought several cars from the Piston 11 back last summer. This is one of the final items we have to review from this haul, the last one being Cho, right? I think she is the only one left from this haul. I do want to apologize, guys. I get Body Shop Ramone and Artist Ramone's names super confused and mixed up. Usually I'm pretty good with names, but it's hard for me to remember which of these is which. And I accidentally labeled this Ramone Artist Ramone on, I think, all of the polls he was on. So if you were voting for this Ramone and you thought it was this one, I'm sorry. I've had this one in my collection since he first came out in 2016. So I'm sorry. I'm sure I've reviewed him in the past. So you can check out one of those reviews on him, unless you have to deal with like squeaky voice 2018 tie, in which case I just avoid it. So I am sorry, but I think most people understood I was referring to this version of Ramone, and if not, I do apologize. That is my bad. This wasn't a Ramone that I was planning to get on my own, since it is so similar to one that I already have, but the Piston 11 was going through what cars he had to sell me that I didn't already have, and he kind of just threw this one in. We kind of agreed to, just throw it in as an additional bonus item, since, again, I wasn't going to go out and buy it on my own, so hey, may as well, right? These items are basically identical, save for a few features, of course, the paint gun being one of those, and the expression being the other big change between these two. Body Shop Ramone features a bit of a more confident smirk, whereas Artist Ramone has more of a passive expression. I definitely prefer the expression on this one. I think this is like classic, perfect Ramone diecast expression here. This one always looked a little weird, almost like they were trying too hard to make it a bit different from the previous diecast expression, though I do appreciate these two having different faces, because beyond that, they are very, very similar. One thing I always thought was super cool about this Ramone is the fact that he's actually textured, or at the very least, Artist Ramone is. All these parts on him are actually slightly engraved, which is really, really interesting. Is that the case here? I'm not sure, but yeah, they're kind of etched on this Ramone. Here, it doesn't look like that's as much of the case. They still are, but not as much. As you can see, they do definitely seem more so just painted on. Here you can see there's a bit more depth, right? There is that etching. Here, it's more so just yellow paint. I think maybe they are a little textured, but they're not etched like this Ramone has. The etching is kind of weird in context, but man, it makes this Ramone look so good and be so so unique. It's a shame that that wasn't done here on the original variant, but hey, I guess that is an update made later on, right? I don't have any of the later releases of Artist Ramone. He's come out many times since in the last few years. Most recently, I think he was out just last year, right? I'm not sure if that etching is still a part of him. I hope it still is. Of course now, you guys hear that? Of course now, when I'm halfway through my video, 2 of my neighbors start mowing their lawns. Thanks, guys. Second time this has happened today. I was recording from Uptown Funk this morning, and everyone decided to mow their lawns. It's been raining all day for the last 3 days. Now we have 1 day with no rain, and everyone goes, lawn mowing time, but specifically when I'm filming. It's like they know. Moving on to the side, of course, one of this Ramone's other most notable features is this brighter stripe with some kind of light blue sort of cyan stripes going across it. I love the Cars 2 and 3 Ramone designs. They're so underrated, I think. They're so different than Ramone's looks in the first movie, and I think they're a lot less samey. Ramone's Cars 1 designs are all really great, but they all have very similar attributes. And in Cars 2 and 3, they kind of start to experiment and play around a lot more. You know, this isn't just green Ramone. This is a Ramone with a lot of intricate design work on him. We have this nice stripe on the side. Kind of reminds me of Willie's Butte, but this is really similar to design work we've seen on the sides of a lot of Ramones, where you have this long, extended design. But again, it's very, very different from anything else we've seen before. Moving on to the back, we have, of course, the typical low and slow license plate. There you go, as per usual. This Ramone is actually not one of the ones that has the Radiator Springs logo in his window. I thought that's something they started doing around this time. Not even the 2016 one has it, which is pretty interesting. There is a look at the other side, and of course, his paint gun. This is, I'm pretty sure, been the exact same accessory for years and years now, but yeah, there's a nice look at it. Oh wow, I never realized he has some nice kind of almost shiny red in his rims. That is very nice. And finally, there is a look at the base. Let's flip that over in case you want to read any of the legal mumbo jumbo here. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. This is a Ramone that I'm happy to add to my collection. Always love being able to add in a new Ramone. Not very different from this one, but you know, it's always nice to have these little variants that are scene specific and do very specific things. You could have this Ramone both with and without the paint gun. Honestly, I definitely prefer the expression of this one, but I always prefer Ramones without the paint gun. So if we could like swap the faces on these two, that'd be great. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.